Still working on that. Next time I will say don't mute my mic, because, wow, I just said a mouthful right there. So, because I'm resilient, because I'm a Capricorn, okay, and I'm going to proceed with what I was saying. So I will repeat everything I just said, and maybe it'll come out differently. Maybe it was meant to come out differently. So we're still, again, learning, obviously, this whole social media thing. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Awesome. Thank you, because I think that's what she was probably trying to say.
Cool.
Like, one of the Mystic members, I think, text on the thing. But, okay. So nonetheless, let's jump in it, and we'll edit this video and re-upload it for you guys, because this really sucks. But nonetheless, let's go in. So as we see, we are living in a society today that is obviously how I entered in. You know, that is the attire, that is the social current norm. It's not going to be our new normal. At least I'm not putting energy into that. But I will say this, that us wearing our masses is a reflection of the collective consciousness and what is taking place on the planet. And this has been something, you know, that, and I didn't have, I guess, a dream that was real accurate and detailed of what we're currently living in, but I did have dreams 5 years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was having a lot of experiences happen to me during that time, those first 2 years of me having her. You know, it rocked my little physical world. You know, I'm a very earthy sign. So all of a sudden, and then when you look back at the astrology, you know, during that time, there was a lot of significant alignments. There was a lot of eclipses and different things that's happening, which we have a lot of significant alignments and activity that's taking place currently, where we currently are. I'm sure if you haven't already, you probably heard. And so I got the nudge in the dream. What I got from the dream was there were certain energy and forces that was going to try to tug us into a certain paradigm. Now, for some people, can you see the comments, Brandon? Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure, you know, is there any Mystic members writing? Okay. Did that link work? Is that how you got in?
Yeah, that link did work.
Okay.
I tested it.
And that's how you got in to the...
Well, I didn't send it to myself. I tested it.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Anyway, okay. So I had that dream, and I was trying to figure out, well, what is really taking place. We had a lot of activity, you know, taking place during that time. And I was also trying to figure out, like, well, you know, when this whole pandemic happened, or should I say when it was overseas, you know, I paid close attention to it because, again, I was already mentally prepared for us to have events that took place this year. And one of the things that really stuck out to me, that made me just kind of like, you know, I remember me and my husband had a little argument over it because, you know, the whole Kobe incident, you know, we had that situation that took place that felt really strange for me. That felt weird. I definitely feel a lot of people energy being taken down because a lot of people looked up to, you know, the celebrities and Kobe and stuff like that. And I can't really speak on all of that, if that was just in divine alignment, or I guess all is in divine alignment, right? But what I'm saying is I just felt this weird energy that was intentionally using that to intentionally put the vibration low. And then shortly after, they start ramping up what was taking place in China, and they kept us Americans, even when I don't watch, I guess you don't have to watch TV nowadays, right? The social media is the new TV. It's either, you're going to some way, somehow, they're going to put this information in front of you. So, that's, I guess we can't say, I don't watch TV. Social media is the new television. And so what took place was, then I was caught up in my own little world, going through my personal drama situation, which, I'll unveil to you guys in the future, at a time that I feel is in alignment. But I was going through this whole, my own little world. And next thing you know, I just kept my ear out for what was taking place. And then I hear like, oh, we have our first, case here in America, the whole situation that led us into the mask wearing of where we are today. And pausing for a second and winding back into 4.5, 5 years ago, I was already being prepared for where we were, what we currently are facing today. Didn't know how, because I was getting dreams that was preparing me to eventually get online, because the dreams just wouldn't stop. Then I got to a point where I didn't even want to go to sleep because the dreams were disturbing. They didn't resonate with me. So I'm like, why am I getting dreams like this? This doesn't, this is not a subjective dream. This is an objective dream to kind of let me know where the collective is going. I don't understand why I'm getting it, because I couldn't have imagined our current reality today. I didn't have all those pieces today, but that's how spirit works. It gives everybody little pieces to the masterpiece, to the universe of this whole magical stage and grand performance that we are all playing a part in. And so I was like, okay, so I took to the internet. Next thing you know, I met, a beautiful woman and her family online. Never actually physically got to meet her. And she came into my life to kind of validate the dream, because she, after we connected for some other reason. But then later on, she was, we opened up and connected, and she told me she had a similar dream, and her sister had a similar dream. And this is what jolted her to get out the army, because, she woke up in the process while she was in the military and found out, under the different layers of spells that we are under, different programmings, in the Matrix, you see the green codes, like, well, there's plenty of them, and we're all playing our part in them, and a lot of them we're still under. So, when people are like, I'm woke, you guys, we're infinite. We're under so many levels of programmings, okay? And you really don't understand how deep it goes. And astrology is a program. Astrology is a script, so those bodies of energies that we talk about in astrology is a programming that gives us levels of energy and certain experiences in our life. Now, you still have free will, free range in those programs. You still have choices. That's another topic for another day, but long story short, she and I connected. She validated that she had similar dreams. And she didn't fully resonate with everything, she came into my life to validate a dream and show someone from a different walk of life, with different belief systems and all types of things, but still enough similarity to have a, communication and a relationship. And she told me her dreams, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Now, at that time, of course, we have choices. We can take that dream and be in a level of fear. And because it wasn't resonating with me, of course, fear, because, it's changed too, and it's something we didn't want to experience. And thankfully, we have not experienced. It was just showing me a projected timeline of what can potentially happen in our future. There's multitudes of timeline based off of the collective consciousness. And we're all molding based off of our frequency, based off of like how we choose to perceive life and how we approach life, right? And how we look through the peephole of life. you know what I mean? Which, as you can see, is constantly being manipulated. That's why entertainers and social media, you know, they're you know, they're making a lot of money. They're bigger than the government. Why? Because they can affect what you see, you know, and what you see, you know, because we are peepholes. So if they get the collective consciousness to project and they start interjecting in your subconscious mind, then you have the collective energy coming together, literally creating, like, you know, just beams of light, like, you know, coming, and then it creates a physical manifestation in the lives that we live now. And so, pausing on that, right? Let me go into Snapchat. My husband then, you know, throughout the process, and I'm not speaking of any of this in a particular chronological order. I'm just putting pieces together of different aspects that came to me. First of all, to first let us know that everything is in divine order, even the current reality we live in today, right? And we could choose how we approach and have, you know, I guess, address and assert ourselves throughout the day, right? That was something, of course, was difficult, I think, for all of us, or at least for me. You know, I know my husband, I didn't even want to go out. I was protesting. I was like, I'm not going out. I'm not wearing a damn mask, right? I was like, I'm just not going to participate in society. You know what I mean? So I did that for like 6 months, right? It's been a minute. That's crazy, you guys. Like, I did it for a minute, like months. And then it was just like, you know, oh my God, I need to go out. And then my daughter, you know, she, you know, we used to just do our thing. So I realized I was caging myself because I didn't want to accept this society, right, that we're currently at. And it was grieving. It was, you know, I don't resonate with it because it's like we're falling in a deeper slumber. And so, excuse me, as you can see, a lot of other people, you know, you feel the moods now. You know, at least for me, I feel the energy, and a lot of people, now here where we currently are is different, but back home, a lot of people's even more agitated, and they were projecting their agitation out, you know, in misdirected spaces. So, you know, just a lot of cranky, you know, we lived in the DMV area, a lot of cranky ass Americans, you know what I mean? Cranky ass people who were not really trying to face themselves, right? Not really even trying to address what's currently taking place that is affecting our breathing, affecting the way we talk. We have a freaking veil, muzzle on our mouth and nose, and how ironic is on that part of our face. It's not on our eyes, it's on our nose, you guys. Like, I'm surprised they didn't tell us to wear goggles, right? And I'm not here to belittle, because I know there's so many people who are terrified of what they decided to present to you, to say, of justifying why you should do the hokey pokeys and turn yourself around, like, or why you should wear this mask, and why you should restrict your breathing when you go out in the public spaces, right? They had to have a good justification, right? So who's gonna, you look like a bad person. It's just like the, you know, the Purge or the Saw, the little, like, social experiment game that they're playing, right? And if you're here, you guys should already know enough of me to know where this conversation is going. So I'm hoping there's no mystics here that are surprised. As we know, mystics is about self-empowerment and going beyond the different codes. Just like in the Matrix, you go beyond, you know, when he met Trinity, which is symbolic to the different aspects of oneself, right? The Father, the Mother, the Son, the Trinity, or you can even go into, I guess, the Kemet. What is that, Brandon? You know the Kemet ones? The
Asar, Aset, and Hebrew.
Asar, Aset, and Hebrew. And so when we go into that, and just the three Trinity, the set of three, the foundation, the family, the mother, father, the child, the feminine, the masculine, the child. We're going into that energy. She represented that. And, you know, she took them down this rabbit hole, down this adventure that's like the dark night of the soul. You know, and you saw Neo go through that. But at a certain point, you saw him seeing the codes, right? That's when you sometimes see 111, and you start to have these synchronistic moments in your life. And even if you're not seeing 111, it depends on where you are and what resonates with you. But you see these like synchronistic moments that's happening in your life, and then next thing you know, you meet someone else that takes you even further, and it just keeps going, right? And when you see these codes, those codes are the programmings that they have people are running on. Okay, so we're obviously now in a place, we're in 2020. This is about 2020 vision. And, you can see the power and the influence of social media. They have bigger influence, obviously, than the government, okay? And the government are just puppeteer figures to be there to just another code, just another program to pull the collective energy, just like they would, say, oh, how dare you not wear a mask? You want people to die, you want old people to die, you want the young ones to die, and all the different things that they would play around because people are under these different spells and codes. And so you feel socially pressured to what? Wear a mask. Even if you don't resonate with this, even if you know intuitively, something's not right about this, and you prefer to breathe than to get to a space where you can't breathe, you can't live. You prefer to go risk your life out for a disease, a so-called disease, right? Even them faking the numbers, they can't even get the percentages right, or maybe they're purposely showing you how little of a risk you can actually die from, and yet they're still sitting here saying, y'all are really going to allow us to manipulate y'all this way? Like, y'all are collectively still hiding for yourself. You really want to bury your head and your ass in the sand and not rise up to who you are? You don't want to see that? And now everyone in the world now they're so scared, because the ones who are scared the most are the ones who are not into health. Like, the ones who are terrified the most are the ones who's like, put your mask on, and they're using the hand sanitizer, and they're freaking out, and they're becoming like this health police, supposedly, right? And yet they eat McDonald's and they do not care. And I don't know what's going on in their social life. I'm so disconnected from that lifestyle that I couldn't even tell you anything more. I'm using the word McDonald's because we all know that one. That's an easy one to pull, right? But I don't know, but you get the point, and you see it, and we still participate in it. And it's just like, it reminds me of when I, expanded past Christianity, because I had moments to myself to, I went through my own spiritual experience to want to expand past Christianity. And I also wanted to know, where did this come from? You know what I mean? And I appreciate Christianity. Why? Because it's helped me during times when I didn't know who I was. That is such a beautiful way to put spirituality. You know what I mean? But then it gets to a point you have a crutch. It's like you tell a kid, Santa Claus exists. You tell a kid that the Tooth Fairy exists, right? And you give them all these different dreams and stuff, but then eventually it becomes a crutch, and now you're walking around, you have people who are grown adults who are suppressing aspects of themselves because they're in this box called Christianity. So now they have to wear this mask, you know what I mean? They have to act a certain way. They're not allowed to speak a certain way, dress a certain way, look a certain way, even and then you go look in the church, how many people who has broken homes, right? Who doesn't have husbands or have wives, or who are the pastor sleeping with some church member or even a freaking child. Why do these things happen? Why does these imbalancement things happen? Because we are wearing a mask, right? And we're suppressing aspects of ourselves to a point where it becomes extreme, So we're dealing with, this whole mask wearing situation. And you hear people, first of all, not everyone is taking this situation well. I didn't take it well. Again, I protested. I was in a house, but again, thankfully, Spirit had warned me that we were going to go through changes in 2020. That's why I was so urgent on leaving, like 3 years ago, but that wasn't in the divine, my script to do. So I left obviously at the right time, which was this year, this fall, right before fall equinox hit. And that's not to say wherever you are, you have to go leave America. Don't have no one out here tell you where you should be to be spiritual, to be activated. That's hocus pocus, okay? That's people egos hijacking their spiritual experience, okay? This is a spiritual experience for all of us, and don't let no one rob you of that by giving you rules. Dogmatic right or wrong rules, okay? Now, by all means, there's cause and effect. That's a law. That's a universal law, and that will always exist. Now, what's right or wrong is someone else's perception. It's in the eye of the beholder. It's the eye of the person who has a peephole, who's looking through their own, how they're experiencing and projecting out, and how they're taking in certain spectrums of their cells or light and reflections. They're going to perceive what is right or wrong differently than your right or wrong. Why? Because they're going to judge it according to their soul contract and experiences and how it impacted and reflected their lives. Now, if they're at an aspect, they're running from themselves and someone's projecting something that they're trying to pull out of themselves, that is, they're going to see that as bad or evil or demonic, right? Because this is you descended and you stagnated an energy within you, okay, that has been suppressed. Why? Because you were told, you were subconsciously or even directly told it was not socially acceptable to be yourself. It was not socially acceptable to be angry, to cry. A lot of men now, well, at least the ones that I've been connected to are embracing their feminine aspect of themselves. Me and my husband, which we were thinking about doing a live, talking about, just relationships and not talking about it from just a mundane level. And maybe we need to start there for people who are not there yet, but talking about it from a divine feminine, divine masculine level. And we are activating that within us, and that's continually unfolding because part of our being is being, you know what I mean? It's one thing to conceptualize. We see a lot of conceptual people online writing their philosophical beliefs, but they're not living it. They're not being it. Half of the relationship experts out here don't even have relationships, or they can't even stand the relationship they're in, let alone with their partner, but with their self. Why? Because they're wearing a mask. And they're not even accepting aspects of themselves. And this was something that I had to unravel before I birthed Fefe the Holistic Gypsy. I had to go through an initiation process. After I had those dreams, I was being cocooned, should I say. I had to go into the dark shadow aspect and get cocooned up and get all scrambled up like a butterfly and lose who I was, lose my identity. I was already going through a death. When you have children, you go through a resurrection, a rebirth, because you go from life without a child and life with you splitting yourself up and now having this being you have to take care of and see aspects of yourself, aspects of your husband or your partner, you know what I mean? And you're just in this different paradigm. In order to get in that different paradigm, you have to go through this birthing period, which is death, okay? Because we're infinite. So you're giving birth. So we can see collectively we're giving birth, obviously, to a new paradigm currently that we're living in. Now, what that looks like is based off of each individual, just like what is right or wrong. It's not for you to tell someone what they can and shouldn't do. I mean, by all means, we are, what is the word? We all are influenced and impacting each other. But if you're not living in your truth, that can imprison, obviously, the collective energy. And that's what the mask represents. You imprisoning yourself, and now we are in the physical manifestation of what you're doing to yourself. You know what I mean? And this has what came to me because I, again, was not... I battled through this, first of all. We all have. I was just telling my husband, like back in relationships prior, before me and him got together. By the way, we go back 10 years ago from college, and we were platonic friends then, and he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, you know what I'm saying? And we're at a place in our relationship where, because I'm sure people were thinking like, wait, you're married? How can you post pictures of yourself? You're showing your skin, you're showing your bare skin. Ooh, just like we're showing my mouth and nose. Ah, scary. Oh my God. This is all different spells and programming we're under. And also they believe like, if you're married, this person owns you and you have to cover up. Just like you have to wear your mask in public, you have to cover up. You're not allowed to, show who you are, show other aspects of yourself to the world. That belongs to the man, That's why you carry his last name. That's him. You know what I mean? And we were talking about that. And I had that programming under me, right? And that's why I was so depressed early on in our relationship. I was having anger issues and just spazzing out on all misdirected places. I was mad at myself. Why? Because I masked myself and stopped doing the things I love. Before me and my husband met, I was doing my thing in modeling. I was on the camera, or I guess before Instagram, right? I was doing my thing, Also, if you go on my YouTube channel, you look at my old videos, what was I doing? Dancing. I do that with the cameras on and off. That's my thing. That's what I love to do. But we're told that, oh, you're an adult now, be an adult, right? And then we have this vague idea of what an adult is, which is supposed to make everyone else comfortable and then just mask ourselves. You know what I mean? And as you have kids, and if you really get to know kids, you realize that you're just a big kid yourself with more responsibility. And even if you have more responsibility, you can still be childlike, and that's when you're a God. Because you can go up the spectrums. That's when you have the Trinity energy. That's when you tap into your masculine. You defend yourself when you have to. When people are saying, oh, no, you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to, I don't know, like, Black people, it's one thing I was told. I had to talk a certain way, look a certain way. I wasn't Black enough and all this other stuff. Or you have those spells too. I had people tell me that too, and that I had to play that out. You know what I mean? Because energy can never be created or destroyed, only transferred. So that transferred into me because I received it. It impacted me. And that's another thing. You have to acknowledge when people on the outside are impacting you. You have to understand their power and your power, And when you understand thyself and you know about your power, you understand their power. So you be careful what you put into your spirit, who you're around, because that can impact you. On a subconscious level. You have the subconscious side of your brain that's absorbing everything, whether you like it or not. The conscious side may be like, no, cock blocky, I can't enter. But the feminine is magnetic. She's sponging up everything, And so you have to understand, and even in a relationship, that's another thing. We'll talk about that another time. But I was talking to my husband about like prior dating and how I was scared, before I went natural. I used to wear my little Beyonce weaves and there's nothing wrong with Beyonce wearing her weaves. First of all, let me just go there. Again, I'm not in here demonizing Beyonce. I love Beyonce, okay? I love her. But there's nothing wrong with her wearing her weave, just to make that extra emphasis on that. But I will say, at that time, I was wearing it because I was scared of accepting my natural self. Okay, before we went through this natural hair movement, and I was there before it became a mainstream thing. You go check my YouTube videos, you kind of know the timelines of things. It doesn't even matter. My point is, I went through my experience of not being happy with my hair and realizing, that in college. And so I remember going and getting my last perm. I never enjoyed the perm experience. To each their own, and there's nothing wrong with those who are getting it. But I'll say this: when I went through that, when I had boyfriends, they could not see me if I didn't have my hair done. You would not come over. Even if, I remember even living with a boyfriend in college, I locked myself in the bathroom because, he was supposed to be out that day and I planned to do my hair. I was very meticulous on making sure that he was not going to see me. And so I was like, oh, you're going to be out, you're going to do this? Okay, cool. That's the day I'm going to do my hair. I had it all planned out, right? Because I was trying to avoid him from seeing me with my mask off, right? Because it was a part of me that did not accept that aspect of myself. So I was suppressing that. So my hair reflected that. It looked ugly. It looked like a little freaking monster on my head, right? Because I was neglecting it, abusing it, suppressing it. Come on. Like, it was dry, looking crazy, and breaking off because, I was putting all this tension and manipulating it to be something it wasn't, abusing myself, an aspect of myself, a part of myself, because I didn't want to accept that part of myself. And I was told, I was projected from the collective consciousness, as we all, if you're around my age, our kids, my daughter, she don't know nothing different, right? So I don't even know why we're trying to project it on our kids. That's their normal. That's all. That's what they see, unless otherwise, right? But for us, right, one of our pain bodies being melanated and having the kinky, curly, more nine-ether looking hair, I had family members tell me about the texture of my hair, and I was, come on, we went, and if you did not go through this, that is fine. We all go through different things. But that was a pain and a very sensitive thing for me. Not every melanated person went through this, but a lot of us have, where we were shamed on a subconscious level growing up, not understanding why we were scared to show our natural hair. So I was one of those people who woke up earlier than before it became a fad on YouTube, because that's when the movement really started, on these forums on YouTube. And so I used to hide in the bathroom, right, before all this. And I realized, I remember my heart was racing because he was home. I was like, oh my God, just terrified, scared of him seeing as, and that's a part of me, and think he's gonna dump me. You know what I mean? Scared. What? I was like, can you imagine? My husband can't even, he we're laughing now, but it was real for me then. I was scared for him to see that aspect of myself. And I realized, I do not like being, in this fear. You know what I mean? And so I remember sitting in that bathroom and just sweating because it was hot. I was trapped in this little, I was in college. And so, oh my God. But I'll say this. I went through that, and then I was like, okay, I have to do something different. My natural hair looks ridiculous, first of all. And so I decided to get a perm, and I started with getting a perm and getting my hair cut because it needed a trim. I had a lot of breakage happening. So I got my hair cut all the way up to here. Back then I was hanging on to all this hair that was obviously not serving me and looked terrible, right? Looked like it was put through a shredder. It looked terrible. So I got a perm, and I cried when I got that perm, like I always did, because I can't stand perms. I have a sensitive scalp, and the lady, she even burnt my scalp because she was trying to make sure, it fully took out all the kinks of my hair, right? And I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I doing this to myself? Someone, when you grow up, because that was your thing. I was like, I'm an adult now. I don't have to do this. So I was sitting there while I'm like, oh my God, please wash my hair out. I was going through all that. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm going through all of this so other people can feel comfortable with me. And I'm not even comfortable with me. And that was really what was all right, this is my last perm. And so I suffered, and I had the scabs and stuff on my head and all this stuff. But I went through the journey where, and I don't even think I told my boyfriend. I was like, screw him. And obviously he's not here today. Literally screw him. By the way, I wish you well. We're still friends on social media. But, at that time, I was getting to a point where I got to get to know me. You know what I mean? So I went through that, and I went through the whole transition, and I can speak about that another time to be short. But the message was just going through that journey of really stressing yourself out to fit in this little ass box. You know what I mean? And then it's so crazy because then when I went natural, I was one of the first people because I did my little modeling eye candy. Now people knew me for that, wearing little wigs, being half naked, which again, in my world, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I came in. That's how I'm going to leave. I don't know. I mean, eventually I will leave the body entirely, but you get my drift, right? My point is, I went through all of that, and guess what happened? When I allowed myself permission, guess what happened? My numbers went higher as far as people paying attention to me. People wanted to meet me in the gym at my college and work out with me, right? And my little natural hair, I had people even, that comes with two sides of a coin too. So you have aspects that, come with that. So it wasn't all like, let me say this. It wasn't all like a walk in the park, but I was committed to the journey, to allowing this side of myself to be expressed. And everyone was just comparing me to Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu. Like, I don't look like neither one of them. At least I don't think I do, right? But because it was such a rare thing for our Black men and I guess the world to see, it was rare to see melanated women, let me use that word, walking around with their natural hair and loving it. And so I was in that first wave of people who woke up to just wanting to explore the side of themselves with their hair and have just build a better relationship with this other part of themselves. And it was a genuine movement, and I was part of that. And that's when people were writing about me on their blogs, and people were coming up to me and telling me how that inspired them to go natural and get to know their hair as well, or just stop going and abusing themselves. And to some people, it's not abuse, and that's fine. Again, your perception, my good, maybe your bad. My bad, maybe your good. It's to each their own. I am not here to be the, as Capricornish as I am, be the judge. You know what I mean? I do that in my own house, but to be the judge, when it comes to that. And if I do, because I am capable, please, y'all are welcome to let me know. But so I went through that, and it was just like liberating, and it was so. Me being myself inspired so many people to be themselves. You know what I mean? And look at this YouTube era. There's a pro and a con to this duality to it, right? Based off of, how you decide to take it. But you see, the fake trend, what's trendy? What's trendy? Now they have made the natural hair movement because now, corporations they saw this being a huge thing, and they're like, hold up, people are pulling out. They're not admiring white women beauty anymore. What's happening here? So they had to put their, put their influence to keep up. But look how we changed the paradigm, you guys. That was like 11, how long I've been natural? It's been a minute. It's about 11 years ago for me, since I went on that journey of accepting this side of myself. Doesn't mean, and there's times when I threw wigs on. My husband don't, care for the weaves and stuff, but he still had to deal with it because I still rock it time to time not now with my locks, fit on there, but, back when I was still, had my loose hair, I still rock the styles that I was resonating with, and depending on how I felt in my mood or whatever I wanted to express, that's what I did, okay? And the mask in this story is symbolic to, first of all, hopefully it inspires and touches you guys, because if you've experienced any such thing where you've been around guys and you're scared to act yourself because you're scared of the guys or males, boys, whatever you want to call them, the opposite sex, that they may not like you, but you have to ask yourself, do you like you? And get to know yourself so you know who you are, and you won't allow someone to tell you who you should be, because we come into this world and that's what we're told. We do it to our kids, like, oh, don't do this, don't do this, be quiet, too loud. Don't act like a lady. Be like a man. Think like a man. And we're here we're just like, you know what I mean? And now you see the physical representation of this. You know what I mean? You're dealing with, melanated people. You know, now that we have social media and we have these pockets of social groups and settings, and you also have the high mentality, which can be detrimental as well, where everyone has to feel obligated, just like you feel obligated to wear these masks, even though you're beyond this so-called virus, right? I'm not sure if I should delve into that. Let me know if y'all are interested in me delving into, what did they call it? Corona, COVID. Woo! I have to retwist my hair probably like next month, my birthday. But yeah, so let me know if you guys are interested in that. But I wanted to come to you guys with this message tonight because I want you to give yourself the space. And that was one thing that kept coming to me when I was grieving, because I was like, wait, we woke up to this crap? You know what I mean? And it didn't happen overnight, clearly. You know, we all, like, if we really want to take a hard look at ourselves, we all have masked ourselves in some form or way or another to fit in a social setting, whether it's college or school or at your job or in a relationships or even with your family. You know, you might be the only one in your family who has, which, you know, we have our story, but, you know, you're the only one in your family that is thinking in a more expanded, objective, ascending view. And everyone is still in this other view. It could be, I don't know, you know, it could be multiple perceptions and paradigms that the family's under. You know, you see families that, with the high collective mindset, they may be like, not unconsciously knowing that they're pushing male divine masculine energy out of their lives. So you see a family that has just nothing but females, and you're wondering why, like, why all these beautiful females are having men issues, right? And when you look at it, and then you see how they act when there is a male coming around, and you see it, and you're like, oh, this is a hive mind. And this is what people like to call like family curses and stuff like that. And you have, you know, family that has addiction issues, drug issues, abuse issues, you know. And I have my share of karmatic disposition that I had to. I'm a Capricorn, y'all. Like Saturn. Ooh, that's a malefic sign. It has a lot of, it's a teacher. So all of the bodies of energies are teachers. Everything is here to experience oneself. So we are literally here. Well, you have choices. You could stay stagnant, you know, and